Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic, and welcome to another charity roundtable. I've gathered this incredible cast of folks to talk about Magic's latest set, Wilds of Eldraine. But this wouldn't be a charity roundtable if we weren't supporting a fantastic cause. And this month we are supporting the Trevor Project. Make sure to donate by hitting Command Donate in chat, and every donation in $5 increments will not only support this fantastic cause, but get you in a draw to win some incredible prizes, ranging from Infinite Tokens prize packs to precons from the set itself. But without further ado, I want to make sure that our panel here gets a chance to introduce themselves. First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. But why don't I send it around for everybody to tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite fable or fairy tale is. Eilidh, why don't we start with you?
Just a second, I'm donating. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Eilidh. I run EDHijinks over on the YouTubes. I used to stream, but then I had a kid and he took up all my time, so I don't stream very much anymore on Twitch. And my favorite fairy tales are the ones where the protagonist gets eaten in the end. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say or not, but yeah, I kind of like the dark and gloomy fairy tales. But like just off the top of my head, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, you know, it's kind of a good moral of the story vibes that stuck with me throughout my life. So yeah, I'd probably say that one.
Nice.
I love that.
Appropriate. Absolutely. Princess, why don't you tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite fable or fairy tale is?
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me. My name is Princess Weeks. I am on YouTube as Princess Weeks and also on Twitter at Weeks Princess. And then sometimes I'm on Twitch as P Wiggles because I thought it was funny.
It got half of us laughing, so yeah.
In a similar dark vein, I really like the Slavic Baba Yaga stories. Like, I love that, like, sometimes she's the villain, sometimes she's just a landlord, sometimes she's just like, I need help running my household. So I just love that she's like every witchy archetype in one, and that she has a house with chicken legs. So it's constantly moving.
That's cool.
Traveling with all of your stuff with you all the time sounds great.
Yeah. Isn't villain and landlord the same thing, though?
That's true. That's true.
Depends where you live.
I was gonna say that. I was like, I immediately had to choke back because I was like, don't jump all over Princess's introduction. That would be
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Princess Nat. Why don't you tell us who you are, where we can find you, and your favorite fairy tale?
Hi, I'm Nat. I go by Giraffa Nat. I am a MTG content creator and cosplayer, and you can find me at events or on internet platforms. I stream on Twitch as well. And my favorite fairy tale is probably Jack and the Beanstalk. I was a big theater kid growing up, so Into the Woods is like one of my favorite musicals. So yes.
Amazing. Fantastic. Thank you for coming out. Nexy, why don't you tell us who you are, where we can find you, and your favorite fairy tale?
Hi guys, my name is Nexy. You can find me over on Twitter and Twitch at NexusMTG. I am the resident bulk goblin. I have a card collection of probably well over 200,000 cards sitting in the corner of my office right now. My favorite fairy tale, the thing is, so I'm Danish, and so a lot of fairy tales have been written by Hans Christian Andersen, who is a Danish author, so it's kind of hard to pick like just one. I do really love The Ice Queen, though.
Good choice.
Right on. Absolutely. The Ice Queen made into Frozen, the biggest cartoon movie in the world. So
Yeah.
Frozen 2 is better.
I agree. Look
at that. Hot take. And lastly, but not leastly, my partner in crime, Clay, why don't you tell us who you are, where we can find you, and your favorite fairy tale?
Sure. So, hi friends. I'm Claybee. I'm part of the C&C Power Hour. Obviously, here hosting tonight. You know, in the past, we've streamed basically every kind of magic in all of its different forms and stuff. Now we do these roundtables. We get to raise money for different charities, talk about each magic set that comes out, and get to have friends from the community come in and help us out. And it's always a good time. And thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to our guests for coming on with us. So my favorite fairy tale is probably Momotaro or Little Peach Boy from the Japanese folklore. I always loved it, and it's now my nephew's middle name. So there's like an especial little bit attachment to that now. Of just every time I see him, I'm just like, yes, you are the Little Peach Boy. That just tickles me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you everybody in the audience for coming out. We've already raised a few donations. We're up to $85 donated. When we hit that $250 goal, we will be adding a Commander Precon to the giveaways. So make sure to hit Command Donate in chat and do take part. We are raising funds for an incredible cause, so please be generous. Now, we are here to celebrate Wilds of Eldraine, a very anticipated return to the plane of Eldraine. I'm very excited for this one. I know you're all excited for this one. That's why we've got you out. But what I wanted to know was, how did you feel about the original Eldraine set and the setting of Eldraine? It is a fairy tale based set that's got a ton of references to a lot of everybody's childhoods and stories that we've grown up with. And what's it like to revisit this? Clearly not everything was told the first time we were there, but how did you feel about the original Eldraine set, and how do you feel about returning to the plane? Clay, why don't we start with you?
So I was excited. Like the moment that they said we're coming back, I was immediately excited. I think that like the world, the art style, the references that you get, right? So many of the characters and so much of that stuff are nods to, like you said, tales that we grew up with or other pop culture things. So like that stuff's really cool. But also like I loved Eldraine as a Magic set, and getting to play like the Fires decks were just so entertaining to me, and I know it was not necessarily good for Magic, but I loved that. The Karuga Fires like deck with the Cavaliers and Kenrith was like some of the most fun I've had jamming in Magic. So I was really excited to come back to that, and was really hopeful to like, and I think adventures are super cool. So yeah, I was really excited to come back, and at least so far, looking at all the art, looking at all the stuff, it seems like they really kind of recaptured the world, and we're getting to see more of it, and I think that's really cool.
Fantastic. Nexy, how did you feel about the original Eldraine, and are you excited to be back on the plane?
I loved the original Eldraine. It was one of the first sets that I actually got to play. I didn't play much of it in like standard or anything like that, but I did use a lot of those cards in some of my favorite historic decks that I would play on Arena. You gotta love the Kitty Kitchen combo. I'm still so mad that Alchemy ruined that combo. But I loved original Eldraine. I thought it was just such a fun little take on the classic fairy tales that we've like grown up with, or that we've always seen like in different iterations with like Disney and things like that. So it was cool seeing a little bit more of like a Brothers Grimm-esque vibe to it, like how it originated, I guess. So it was really cool. I loved that set, and as far as I've seen, I think that Wilds of Eldraine is really doing it justice. So
amazing. Yeah, the dreaded cat oven combo.
You be nice to my kid. That was my preview card. I have
the cat continues to show up in infinite combos, so it's definitely the cat that keeps coming back. So Eilidh, let's send it over to you. How did you feel about the original Eldraine, and how do you feel about returning?
I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Throne of Eldraine, because I was so tired of getting stomped in the face. I was so tired of seeing Oko in every single deck on the Pro Tour or the Mythic Championships, whatever they were called back then. That set was definitely one of the most powerful in a very, very long time, considering 6 cards were banned from it. Like, that's ridiculous. They were like, hey, let's go big or go home. And you know what? Yeah, they certainly crushed it in more ways than just Bone Crusher Giant. But yeah, like flavor wise, I think it's such a cool set. Like, adventures are so fun. And they do kind of feel like cheats though, because you have 2 cards attached to one. You know, everyone was moaning about companions, but it's like, you got 2 things in adventures, friends. Like, yeah, you have 14 cards in your hand at one point if you're lucky. But yeah, I think just art-wise, the fairy tale, you know, having the relevance to, or the familiarity with all the fables and the fairy tales. Like, yeah, I think it's a very flavorful plane, and I'm happy that we're back. I think this set looks really cool.
Fantastic. Princess, how do you feel about Eldraine?
I loved Eldraine. Fairy tale reimaginings are absolutely my thing. And I also just liked the world building because I always loved Rowan and Will because I love twins. I love when twins have drama. So like seeing their world was like really exciting. And also, I'm biased, but my favorite card that came out of Eldraine was Beloved Princess, which I had the amazing Martina Montrasi make like this altar sleeve of it, where it's like, it's me. I am the Beloved Princess, and I get to play a Magic card with my name on it, and it's fun for me. And I'm really excited to revisit this because I feel like Thrones was very much like high on the nobles and the knights, which was really cool. And here we're going into dark fae and witchy stuff, and I just like that we're getting more into like that element of it because
the Brothers Grimm.
Exactly. So we had the Camelot vibes, and now we're gonna just be in the Grimm fairy tale vibes, and I'm living for that.
Absolutely, more about like the Sealy courts and the more fairy dominated stories with the fae creeping into this. Love to see the plane kind of change and evolve too, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Nat, how do you feel about Eldraine as a plane and our return to it?
I love Eldraine. I'm a big person on flavor, and I feel like Throne of Eldraine was kind of one of the first sets that gave us like a flavor outside of just Magic, out of the Magic realms. And like I said, I'm a theater kid, so you know, Camelot, I was like, all right, let's go, let's do this. I'm excited. And yeah, the set was really cool. It was really powerful, and I'm not very big on Phyrexia, so once I saw that Eldraine was happening this year, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. So I've been anticipating this set all year. So I'm really, really excited that they brought it back.
Absolutely. Love to see that Magic's bringing in some of the quote unquote real world references into set design and Magic design too. I think that this was one of the starts of that. The original Eldraine was one of the starts of that, and did a great job drawing in people that noticed the references to fairy tales and stories and fables, and drew people in. But Eilidh, to your point, absolutely, the original Eldraine was a very, very powerful set. From Oko to Once Upon a Time, all
Cauldron familiar.
All causing an absolute nightmare throughout multiple formats. The original Eldraine set was one for the record books, for sure. But Nat, you mentioned Phyrexians and not being big on the big Phyrexian storyline that we just wrapped up, but we're seeing some of the fallout of the Phyrexian storyline and the unsparkening of several characters like Will and Rowan who are appearing in the set. So there's definitely some continuity that's being carried through into this set. So how do you feel about this reflecting some of the fallout from the invasion of the Phyrexians? How do we feel that that's really impacting the plane? And from a story perspective, does this carry you from the past sets into the current ones? Nat, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so I remember sitting at the panel when they announced, you know, what Eldraine was going to look like and how it was going to be a darker Eldraine. And I remember initially feeling kind of disappointed because, again, Phyrexia's not really my thing. And I was like, Eldraine, I'm excited for like the cute like princesses and fairies and all of that. So I wasn't initially super excited, and then they showed Ashiok, and that all changed. Because if you don't know me, I'm a Dimir Mill player, and Ashiok is my favorite planeswalker, and so as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, Eldraine's gonna be great. And I, seeing the set now, I really do like kind of like the darker direction that they took with it.
Yeah.
It gives it a little bit of variety and difference. It's not just the same set over again.
It's texture to it, It's like they gave you the fanciful and the pretty, and now it's like the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Sticking a chicken bone in your teeth, kind of thing.
You get to see some of the fairy tale characters interact with each other too, like because there is this war on the plane, this struggle for power that's going on. You get to see a lot of these characters, like the Cinderella inspired character interact with the Red Riding Hood inspired character, and getting that kind of flavor and story behind this is really interesting too. I like seeing there be a reason for us to be on this plane and a reason for everybody to kind of meet up too. But Eilidh, how do you feel about this being the fallout of the big Phyrexian invasion?
Well, I do have one little gripe from Phyrexia into Eldraine, and that is that I think they did the Kenriths dirty by putting them in a little like, oh, by the way, there's also the set Aftermath.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the Kenrith's funeral. It's like, what? You just kind of gloss over like two of the coolest cards from the set, and they're both dead now? Oh, cool, thanks. Spoilers if anyone didn't know that. But yeah, it's like, oh, well. Anyway, the one thing that I quite like, coming into Eldraine is that lore people can correct me if I'm wrong, but they basically put everyone to sleep as a defense mechanism, and now people are waking up, but like some people are just like these floating zombie-esque things. So that's already heckin' creepy. But I honestly didn't look at a lot of the story. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Rowan is having a hissy fit emo phase. So feel free to tell me. But it's cool. We like drama and we like conflict. So yeah, twin drama. Let's go.
The elder Kenrith being killed off screen is an incredible injustice.
Agreed.
The hell.
Princess, how do you feel about this being kind of the lore-wise fallout of the last year's worth of story?
Well, I co-sign a lot of what was already said, and I also I feel like while I get the whole like Will Rowan having conflict is like part of the core of it, I was actually looking forward to like the other two Kenrith kids showing up more, because it's like they also have and there's also the weird dynamic of like though like Will and Rowan are not the biological children of like their stepmom, so I was like maybe that'll be the power play. So like I thought it was a little cliche that it's just the two of them going into a fight, but I was like all right, we'll live with it. But I do like the idea that these are two characters that were just so conjoined by like their power, and how the de-sparking also is just like representation of their just splintering of like how do we protect this world right after our parents died. And I feel like Will is just being very like stoic and sensible, very blue, and Rowan is like, no, I'm very upset about my dead dad and dead mommy, and I'm gonna be very loud about it. And as someone who played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I'm always gonna be team blonde haired mad girl, so I'm there with her.
Oh yeah, Rowan coming into the plane hot saying I'm going to be a problem is big red player energy for sure. Nexy, how do you feel about this being a continuation of the Phyrexian invasion story?
I definitely agree with what everybody's been saying about this set so far. Lore-wise, I also don't know too much about like what's going on. I do know about the sleep and that they're trying to reawaken the plane basically, and that's a huge core of the story. But it is very interesting that it's just like what Eilidh was saying about the huge injustice about Kenrith and all of that stuff. It's like, so this is just the transition was not as smooth as I would have liked it to be, and I wish that there was a little bit more within the set itself that touched on that. So that's really all I have to say, is that the transition, it is really cool that we've been overdue for coming back to Eldraine, in my opinion. It was one of my favorite sets flavor wise, and so I'm very happy that we're back, but the transition into it was just a little rocky for me.
This one being the first set after this multi-year long story arc does make for a very jarring entrance into the plane and into a new story, into the more self-contained one plane stories here. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a palate cleanser, but what we got was Aftermath, which was like this big. So we didn't get too much out of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see before we head to Ixalan a little bit of a smoother translation. So we'll see. We'll see. Clay, how do you feel about this being the fallout of the Phyrexian invasion story arc?
I think that story-wise, I appreciate it. I'm still annoyed about the de-sparkening of a bunch of characters, especially like, hey, we've got a whole new like generation of young, exciting, interesting planeswalkers, and now we're going to just trap them all, and now they're just going to have to deal with their own world's issues.
Oh, they can still move. They just use the.
Now we got the omen.
things.
Now we have the omen paths, and like so a little bit of that initial frustration has dissipated, but it's still kind of like, oh, cool, the Kenrith twins, who I loved. Now it's just like they're just dealing with Eldraine, so there's like a little bit of annoyance with that. But I think story-wise, it's cool as a follow-up. I wish that there was more, either mechanically or card art, that really conveyed, hey, we just had a multiplanar like apocalyptic war, because for the most part, like I was just browsing back through the full gallery again. If you just looked at all the art, you wouldn't guess that the Phyrexians had been on Eldraine.
Yeah, there's like no remnants of them anywhere.
Yeah, and so that's just like a little weird. And I don't know if that was because like I loved how Nat, I'm not a big Phyrexian fan, but I loved how they put so many little subtle notes in the card arts, whereas like, oh, there's that Phyrexian symbol in so many different cards, and you're like looking in the backgrounds of all of the cards, like, oh, where is it? Oh, it's there. So I wish that they had made a bigger like artistic commitment to that. But as far as like the actual narrative, it is nice to get back into like a smaller story. And I think this is a good place to show like politically what happens when a monarchy falls, right? And like a world gets destabilized by war. So it'll be interesting to see what the other planes look like as we go plane to plane, if this kind of vibe stays as what they're doing, or if it's like going to keep switching up as we get further from Phyrexia.
Right. I was really hoping that either we were going to see more of the fallout of the Phyrexian invasion, or they were going to ignore it entirely. And we got a kind of a half measure in here, because I was really interested in seeing like, hey, what happens when a fairy tale land suddenly has this very advanced technology dropped in the middle of it? Is there a power struggle for it? Is there massive technological advancements that have been delivered to this plane? But apparently none of that is touched on at all.
The technological advancements are the Rat Society.
They're taking over this plane.
Absolutely. I am all here for our new rat overlords.
The rat players are thriving, like, honestly.
Oh yeah.
As they should be.
Play rats.
Right.
Now, we mentioned the Will and Rowan conundrum here. The Scion of Peace versus the Scion of War, and the power struggle that's going on right now. So I want to do a little bit of a lightning round real quick and pass this to everybody. Are you Team Will or Team Rowan? And Princess, you kind of gave us your feelings on this already. Team Rowan.
Team Rowan, red and black, baby.
Fantastic. Nat, how do you feel, Will or Rowan?
I'm Will. I'm sorry. I'm too blue at heart. Like, I just.
Eilidh, Will or Rowan?
I don't like him either, but if I had to pick, I would go Rowan, just because I like to cause chaos and blow things up.
Love that. Nexy, Will or Rowan?
I'm here for Rowan's emo hissy fit.
And Clay, Will or Rowan?
Will, because strange witches handing out promises of magical power is no way to form a political system.
Not with that attitude.
Exactly. I remember when they first showed the art of like the anime style art of Rowan, and my first thought was like, I don't endorse murder, but I do support the empowerment of women. Like that quote is what was like going through my mind the whole time. It's like very House of Gucci. And I'm like, she's making terrible mistakes, but I love it for her.
She looks great.
She'll learn.
Yeah.
She'll learn, or she'll die a miserable death. One of those two things will happen.
And I love the Targaryen almost art of like, especially in this one, like with the scales. I'm like, she just looks so cool. Sorry, Will.
No, absolutely. I agree. The alternate art on both Will and Rowan look fantastic, but that Rowan is some of my favorite in the set. And we'll talk about art a little bit later, but I do want to remind everybody that we are taking donations still. Hit Command Donate in chat. We have hit the $165 donation mark already. We're creeping up on our first goal of $250. We'll be adding in a Commander Precon to the giveaway too. So be sure to be generous because you can win something at the end of the night too. Thank you as always for hanging out in chat. Right, love to see it. All right, so this is the return to a set. We are returning to Eldraine. Apart from the senior Kenris, rest in peace. Are there any legends from the original visit to Eldraine that you're disappointed we aren't seeing right now? Clay, you are very excited for a hot take.
Grumgully, first, second, and third. I wanted Grumgully back so bad. I love that little mushroom dude, and I'm very just sad to not see Grumgully again. That's fine. That's my answer.
Yeah, disappointed he's not back to give everybody some party favors, right?
I was hoping he'd have food, like a food-related mechanic.
Oh right.
Oh yeah. I mean, giving out rations to the survivors or something. Yeah.
There you go. Nexy, any legends from the original Eldraine that you're disappointed aren't coming back?
I have two actually. The first, I just want to know, Oko, what are you doing? Where, like, I know that he's like out living his dream, doing like the gold rush thing in.
I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Like, I understand he's out in California right now, I guess, but like 1800s California. But it's like, I guess I would have loved to see a little bit more of him in this, especially because it's just such an interesting like he was such a core part of original Eldraine, so it's like, well, we have absolutely like no word of you in this Eldraine, so it's very strange to me. But I know we'll find out more about that in the future, especially with the is it the Outlaws set? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
the
Wild West one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Thunder Junction, yeah.
Yes.
Badass.
At Thunder Mountain Railroad. So I'm a little bit more curious about his story, but somebody that we have not seen, we've gotten him in some commander decks, or we've gotten him in core sets, but somebody we haven't seen since Eldraine is Garruk. Like, I'm very, very curious. Like,
he's on a card art in this.
The really interesting thing is that, like, in the lore of original Eldraine, he had promised that he's gonna like watch over Will and Rowan and all this, and then he follows them over to Kylum, sees that they're doing fine, and then he just like fucks right off, and it's just like, what? Yeah. You just promised that you would take care of them, and
now look
you
what's
go see
happened.
them once. You don't even interact with them, and then you just dip. And it's like, I want to know more about where Garruk is and what he's doing, because like, and I'm still a little bit salty about him not being part of War of the Spark, but that was that's me holding a grudge for the past 5 years. So I think Garruk is like my #1 pick, because what's happening with him?
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious about my little veiled boy.
Anyone who's
Oko's
ever
pet.
Anyone who's ever babysat can relate to turning your back for 5 minutes and the twins are going to war. Like,
It happens to the best of us.
it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. He leaves them alone. They're out of his sight for 5 minutes. Will loses a leg, and then they go to war. Like, that's the. How did you manage to hurt yourself? I turned my back for 5 minutes. And Eilidh, you mentioned Garuk is on a card art. It's one of the sagas.
It's one of the sagas, yeah.
Something of the
can't remember what it's called. The Redemption of the Huntsman or something. I could be lying to you though.
Yeah,
I think it's a
something
black
along those
card.
lines.
Huntsman's
There you go.
Hey,
The Huntsman's
green card, there you go.
Redemption. There we
That makes
go.
sense, yeah.
So that is the only hide or hair we see of Garuk in this set.
So he went to
Disappointing.
go redeem something, evidently. That's why he's not looking after the kids.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Nat, how about you? Any legends you're disappointed aren't returning?
This is another one that is depicted on a card, but is I don't know what they're doing. But Sir Conrad.
That was gonna be my pick. Yeah.
Yeah, on the new Grave Pact Enchanting Tales card, looking so nice.
Mhm.
But yeah, it I just like what are they all doing? I know we have like depictions of all the knights and stuff, but I'm not exactly sure what they're doing or where they are. So
Yeah, absolutely.
they just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, all of the knights from the original set that had their own legendary cards are absent in this set, which is disappointing. Oh, we've got special guest.
Hello, baby.
Hello, baby.
Can you say donate, please? Donate,
That
please.
precious face.
Good boy.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, welcome our secret member of the panel.
Exactly.
He's
I
sad
agree.
that Ayara is not in this set, but she was in the previous one because she got Phyrexianized. Yes. Now she's a big, nasty Rakdos lady.
Yeah. And did she meet her end in the Phyrexian storyline, or is she still kicking around the plane somewhere?
I have no idea. I think she's just ruling the underworld and telling all the Phyrexian suitors now to GTFO.
She's
what I'm
taken up
assuming.
residence in the furnace layer of Phyrexia and is now time displaced somewhere. Who knows?
That seems like a good gig after, fancy fairy tales and stuff. So good for her.
I do have an answer for Ayara.
Oh, yeah?
Nexy, please.
Apparently she was slain, and so she's dead.
Gotcha.
Apparently.
How? I'm mad.
I'll read more.
Off screen.
Yeah,
Off screen again.
Once again, homophobia has struck again. Another great queen taken.
It does read, she met in, I don't know that word. That's a big word. She met her end shortly afterwards, after the events of New Phyrexia. Rankle used a love potion to lure her off a cliff into her death.
Oh, wow.
What?
It really is compulsory heteronormativity struck again. Another great woman gone.
I just want to know how a love potion makes you do that.
That's wild. Sorry for
Wild, but thank you for that conclusive piece of lore. That's great to get that I guess closure on this. But Princess, any legends from the original set that you're missing out on this time around?
Well, Conrad was already mentioned, but I guess if I had to pick another one, I would say my girl Emery, Lurker of the Lock. I want to know what's going on with her. I feel like, especially in a set that's all about like two rival rulers looking for validation, the Lady in the Lake XP is definitely who I'm looking for. And I think also, considering like we were talking about the Phyrexian element, it would have been really cool to have seen like that element with like just in terms of mechanics with her artifact ability, how it might have mixed in with Phyrexian stuff. But yeah, I miss her and Sir Conrad.
Yeah, absolutely. All good calls. All good calls. With such like a character focused set, the way that Eldraine is, and a character focused plane, the way that Eldraine is, it does really seem like a waste to give us some of these characters and then not give us some kind of return to them. Clay?
I don't miss it. I'm glad that they didn't print, but I am surprised that we did not get a questing beast too. Just everybody was convinced for the meme that we were going to get that again, and I was like fully braced for it, and I would have supported it if it came, but I'm glad that it didn't.
Yeah, just named another questing beast, and that's it. Like that'd be one to see. Just another questing beast, and then another full text box on it,
or a saga called Beasting Quest. Like,
Remember when we complained that questing beast had too many words on it?
oh yeah, what a long way we've come, and a lot of long text boxes from then. Oh, amazing. So we are seeing a lot of new references to a lot of new fairy tales we didn't get the first time around, from everything from Cinderella to Red Riding Hood. Some of the more traditional stuff, even Hansel and Gretel, are depicted in the set, albeit with a little bit of a darker twist to it. But are there any fables that aren't referenced within the set that you would have liked to have seen referenced in the set?
That's a good question.
Yeah. This one might be a little bit different than your favorite fable, because some of your favorite fables, like Baba Yaga, was depicted as Baba Lysaga the first time around. So something similar to that. But are there any references you think that they missed the mark on? Anything that you think that they didn't get to or reference?
Like I don't think there's anything glaringly obvious missing in terms of the most well-known or popular fairy tales. And I think the less they shove into one set, the better, because then the next time we go, we can see something else. I'm cool with it.
Absolutely. I think as more and more things enter the public domain as well, when it comes to these famous stories and literary references, seeing that pool out a little bit further on this plane would be excellent too. With something like Winnie the Pooh entering public domain, who knows whether we get 1,000-acre forest coming up in the next Eldraine.
For sure.
All right.
that'll be
Matt,
in
any
Bloomburrow.
references you'd like us to, or you would have liked to have seen in the set?
I like the commenter who said Thumbelina. That would have been fun.
Oh,
I think that would have been like a fun dynamic. But yeah, I agree. Like I think like most of the stuff that we expected were there. And honestly, I think I more so wanted I know we're going to the Wilds of Eldraine, but I would have wanted a little bit more overlap just from stuff that we had before. I think that sense of continuity and like how they interact would have been fun. But yeah, I'm very happy with it, especially because we got Red Riding Hood. And that's one of my faves.
Nice. I like her art a lot. The card's really sweet. Ruby.
Absolutely. Clay, your thoughts?
I'm looking at the cards again, trying to remember. Is there a like Princess and the Pea reference? Because if not, that would be one that I would have been fun. I don't even know what that would look like mechanically, but that was just the first one that came to my mind, and I was like, oh, I can't remember if there's actually.
It would have to be a card that uses the stack, right? Like the more of a stack there is, the more effective the card is. Something like that. I don't know. Right?
Love
we can
that.
just make one up. It's easy.
Perfect. Only cast this if there are 3 or more spells on the stack. Counter the first spell on the stack. Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. Look, you just made that up on the spot.
There we go. Anybody else with any other fables that they would have liked to have seen? No? There's a massive pool to pull from, so I'm sure we'll get a return to Eldraine in the future with a lot of new ideas in it as well. All right. But before we move over to some of our favorite cards and talking about some of the returning mechanics and some of the new cards in the set, I do want to remind everybody that, again, we are still taking donations out there, team. Please hit Command Donate in chat. We are just shy of our $250 goal for the night before we start giving away some of our fantastic prizes by the end of the night. I did also want to remind everybody that we are going to be doing Q&A towards the end of the roundtable too. So please redeem the 1 channel point ask a question redemption so that we can go back through and pull out all of your questions, much like Clay has demonstrated for us. But we will be answering all of your questions at the end of the night, or the majority of your questions at the end of the night. Thank you very much. So switching gears here, everybody, let's talk about some of our favorite cards from the set. And thank you, yes, everybody out there, for blaming Chris. Absolutely. So talking about some of our favorite cards in the set now, as opposed to the lore and the story behind this, I want to kick us off with some of the new mechanics that are rolling out in the set, including role tokens, these enchantment tokens that we are getting with the set. An interesting new spin on auras and an interesting new type of enchantment that we're seeing here. How does everybody feel about these? And is this something that we should have seen a long time ago from a development standpoint? Nexy.
Me first. After Nexy. Nexy first.
Next, please.
No, you go on right ahead.
I have a gripe with these. I know why they didn't do it, but the fact that you just puts it into the graveyard. It's not a sacrifice or anything. It's not a destroy. There's nothing to it. It's basically just like, there it goes. You know, even when you have 2 legends and they legend rule each other, one of them's getting yeeted out of there. You're doing it. They didn't commit to anything for this, and that bugs me, because then you can't abuse them, you know, on other synergies and stuff. So I got a little mad about that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of them, honestly. I think they're too convoluted. But that's just me.
Good call. Good call. Yeah, the fact that the wording is if another roll would be put on this, put it into the graveyard as opposed to sacrifice it or
destroy it.
Yeah.
Or exile even. I mean, come on. Like, just make it go away somehow with a word that already exists.
Nexy, please.
Yeah, it's actually something that I didn't even think about when looking at these, was the fact that there is no like keywording of it leaving the battlefield. It's just, oh, it's in the graveyard now. That's it. Yeah. Something that is really interesting though is that we've kind of had something like this in the past. Like, there's only 2 cards, as far as I know, that exist that have created true enchantment tokens that aren't like creature enchantments, and those were Estrid the Masked and Smoke Spirit's Aid. Those 2 were the only 2 that have ever created aura enchantment tokens. So it is interesting that like now we're getting them a little bit more fleshed out. But I don't really know like how I necessarily feel about them. It is cool, like you get to add a little bit of a twist with certain things. You can curse your opponents. You can turn your creatures into monsters, and so they have certain like abilities, things like that. So it is really cool. I just feel like I wish it was a little bit more fleshed out.
Yeah, going through the number of cards in the set that actually make role tokens, there are much fewer than you would anticipate for this being a core mechanic. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, what opportunities are we really getting outside of Eldraine that are really going to be using that mechanic?
Right.
So it just feels a little too little for me.
Yeah.
I agree. Very, very surface level from a design standpoint, but who knows whether in future sets we're going to get different kinds of roles. Maybe on the Wild West set we'll get a sheriff role, or we'll get an outlaw role.
Yeah, a lore bringer or an outlaw, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Maybe we'll see something like that. Maybe this is the start of something that's going to be deciduous, as they say, rather than evergreen. Something that we'll see in multiple sets.
Yeah, when are we going to see battles again, I wonder? You know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Which, just a side note for battles, I'm very surprised that they did not show up in the Lord of the Rings set, because they would have been so perfect in that set. But
absolutely,
that's neither here nor there.
Yep. Battle of Helm's Deep, anyone? No?
Okay. Battle of 5 Armies?
Yeah. And even in a set like this, like Wilds of Eldraine, we have Will and Rowan going head to head in a war, and there is no battle either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of these mechanics that they introduce and then don't touch on again, maybe it's for the reason why they want to see how complex it is once they get in the hands of players. And then if people adapt to it and adopt it, they roll it out in future sets. Who knows? Some of these might be too new to see again this quickly.
It's also tough because sorry to interrupt there, but like these sets are all 2, sometimes 3 years out. So if they do just use this like, let's see, there's so many places that they could be really successful that just aren't utilized. So I don't know. I'm hoping they have a plan. Deciduous, as you say.
Exactly. Nat, how do you feel about role tokens? Interested to play them from a design standpoint? What do you feel?
No. I'm sorry. I really don't want to learn a whole nother thing. I don't want to have more tokens. I don't want one more thing I have to keep track of. I just no, thank you. If it's your thing, great, but it is not mine.
I get you. Some mechanics bounce off of you, and this is definitely one that I can see that a lot of people having some challenges with, especially with the double-sided rolls too. It can get convoluted for sure.
Yeah, and going through stuff like I didn't even get all of the tokens, so it's like I would have to go on and look up and see.
Yeah, that's a big gripe a lot of players had.
Yeah. So, not my fave.
Gotcha. Princess, how do you feel about this roll mechanic?
I just don't care for auras in general, so it was like literally one of my least favorite things. So I was just like, and I also feel like, I mean, this is just me, but I feel like we've had so many saga related like commanders and stuff going, and I'm like, they should have just done more sagas. It's fairy tales, like having it be like a fairy tale mechanic, or like trying to make it like storybook or something like that would have been so much more fun. It has like more longevity in my opinion in terms of like going into multiple things. Oh my god, we made the goal.
Yep, we have hit our first goal. Sorry for the interruption, Princess, but thank you to Crab Baskets for a very generous donation. We have hit our first goal, meaning we will be giving away a Commander Precon at the end of the night.
Amazing.
Sorry, Princess, please continue.
Oh no, I mean, it's just smarter people have said it already, but I just feel like it's just another set of tokens that I don't really see as very interesting, and I think that for the narrative attachment to it, it just feels like we have on adventure. I just feel like put some more saga or something more tale oriented. I don't think that this really matches that well. I think if the Wild Wild West thing, it's like, oh, you deputize a character and like they become a lawman, like that's at least something that you can like interact and anyone can deputy. But like I don't know if people are going to want to do these roles and other things.
Totally fair.
Add a wanted token or aura to a player.
Yeah,
exactly.
You win the game if you capture them.
It's like you enchant a creature, you put a wanted roll on them. Now every time they get attacked, they get like a -1 on their thing.
It becomes like Grand Theft Auto. They start getting stars, and then freaking helicopters come. Oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
when something enchanted with the wanted roll dies, everybody else gets a treasure token, something like that.
Yeah,
there you go. Bounty.
There you go. Clay, how do you feel about the roll mechanic?
So I love that I'm going last. So the context for this, enchantments are my like second favorite card type of all time, just after Planeswalkers. And so like the last couple sets have been awesome for me. I love enchantments. I love all of the enchantment support that we've been getting. I have from the Commander Masters, I've been working on Narcy.
I love her.
So great.
That's one of the cosplays I want to do.
Whom I love. I love this art. It's very cool. So the rolls, I think they're super awesome, and I love the idea of getting like repeatable, small enchantment effects. So it's like +1/+1, and you get to scry 1, or you get ward 1, or you get, and like the ability to choose, especially like the cards that let you pick which kind of role you want to put and where you want to put them, like giving players more options like that are less overwhelming right? Where it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I play this card and I win the game, or I get a huge advantage. It's like I'm making strategic decisions to gain incremental value and advance my game plan. I love that kind of gameplay. I also was very upset that they don't sacrifice themselves, specifically for Darcy. Very selfishly, especially for Darcy, because I wanted to draw cards off them. Related, I was very upset that the totem armors don't sacrifice. Because I had this like really big brain. I was really excited to put the Umbras and then get to, protect her and get to draw cards. Didn't work that way. I do think that I actually like that there's not as much role support or role creators in this set. I think it's really hard line to walk from a game design standpoint when you're working with new or different kinds of tokens. And we've seen them go way past that line with like treasures and now like foods and stuff where like once these things hit a critical mass, then it just gets frustrating for a lot of players. And I've seen a lot of people who are just like, I'm so over this. So like them kind of slow rolling it, get players used to a new card type, get players used to like a new mechanic and system. And then, it could be Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It could be when we go back to Strixhaven and the Prismari. Like you could have performance, like there's a whole bunch of different ways that you could add a handful of cards here, a handful of cards here, so that you're not overwhelming, especially like a limited environment because it's like because there are a bunch of cards that matter about an enchantment hitting the graveyard or an enchant, this and that. If there were like 45 to 50 cards putting rolls onto creatures, they would need to put a lot more tokens into the pre-release packs, but the gameplay I think would get a lot more complex. So while I'm like really, really excited about this and like I hope they explore enchantment tokens further because we've had so many artifact token strategies and focuses on that. I am glad that they're kind of taking their time with it, I guess, as I put it.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Clay, when you reference things like treasure tokens and the artifact tokens. Wizards kind of learned their lesson about overdoing it with some of these new mechanics that are cross-set because people immediately burned out on the volume of treasure token generators that we were getting set after set after set. And this goes back to our discussion about battles as well. New mechanics we aren't seeing set after set after set because they don't want to make them too complicated or they don't want to overwhelm us with the volume of them right out of the gate. And I think that those are all great points. But Clay, please.
I am also really excited to see the other forms of battles that we're going to get in the future that they've talked about. And so that's kind of speaking to also the point of like, cool, we've got role tokens. What other kind of enchantment tokens can we get? And like that kind of energy. And like, yes, we've had sieges. We're gonna get ambushes, or we're gonna get like skirmish. Like what other ways can they do this? I really can't wait to see them implement that. But I'm glad that it's not hey, we've introduced this new card type. It's gonna be in every set. Yeah, prepare yourself.
Like planeswalkers. They solved that problem. They're just like, okay, we're gonna despark you and you and you and you.
And on the topic of planeswalkers, they've also made a design decision around them in that every set is going to have one planeswalker.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Everybody think that that's a positive move except for Clay, who's a big planeswalker fan.
Because then when you get the planeswalker, you're real happy. I used my one time. This was the last pack of my collector's booster box that I opened.
Nice.
Unless they pick bad planeswalkers or planeswalkers I don't care about, then I'm just like, oh, cool, that's a wash.
That's the roll of the dice. Oh, go ahead.
Nexy, please.
I just think it should have been situational. Like you can have like a max limit of planeswalkers, but I think that limiting it to only one is not a great game design choice.
And they've said that that's what it's going to be going forward for a while. When that changes, don't know, but yeah, it's like one planeswalker per set. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting when they tease us with this Outlaws set that looks like it's got a lineup with several planeswalkers in it. How do they decide
Guess
which
who got
one is going to be?
Yeah.
Guess which one's going to be in the set? Which one of the 5 potential planeswalkers they've shown us are going to be the one? And to your point, Eilidh, I think it does make it more special when you open up the one planeswalker in the set too, as opposed to, hey, I cracked 3 boosters and I got 3 different planeswalkers. It doesn't make them feel as special.
Yeah, and also, I'm not biased in any way. I don't hate planeswalkers, but I despise them quite a bit. I don't know what's worse, despising something or hating it. But yeah, sorry, Clay. I'm gonna get
no,
kicked
it's
off.
fine. No, absolutely not. We need opposing views, right?
Yeah.
You were glad that they got desparked. I wish we would do War of the Spark more frequently and just have 30 plus planeswalkers in a set.
Although, to your point, it's like 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, right? War of the Spark, every single planeswalker was there. Well, most of them,
except for Derek.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Because Nicol Bolas was afraid of him. Because
Yeah.
Nicol Bolas was afraid of him. He specifically excluded him because he was like, that maniac is too dangerous.
That guy smells. That's truly what happened, honestly. But I enjoyed the uncommon planeswalkers. I thought they offered just a little bit. They were kind of just like an enchantment on the board. I wasn't too crazy about the passives, some of them at least. Narset, looking at you. But I liked that they weren't stupidly overpowered, and if you just wanted to ignore it, you could. But the ones that always had to be answered. I came in when Teferi wasn't standard, and he was not fun. So I think coming in with such a powerful first-time planeswalker, that kind of killed them for me.
Gotcha. Princess, please, how do you feel about the one planeswalker?
Oh, well, that I'm neither here nor there. I mean, I just want Kaya to be okay, and as long as Kaya is all right, I'll be fine with this. I more so want to know who got disparked now, because I kind of I don't need the anticipation each time. I just kind of want to know what's going on. But going back to the enchantments real quick, I will say I do love enchantments, but I find the division between enchantments that are auras and not creates a whole gameplay mechanic that just is frustrating. I have a Nixia and I love it, and it's just I can only use one kind of thing. So when there was all of these new auras, I was I don't need these. I need more sagas. But yeah, one planeswalker is fine as long as it's Kaya.
Nexy.
You mentioning Kaya actually made me remember the fact that we're going back to Ravnica again, the return to Ravnica. And I'm just curious how that's going to end up going with having only one planeswalker, because I'm a Teysa girl personally, but
she was a planeswalker, and then in Guilds of Ravnica she was a legend, right? There hasn't been another Teysa planeswalker since.
No, they did do that, yeah. But still, I understand that they can do their legendary cards still.
Wait, was she?
For it, but
no, Teysa wasn't a planeswalker.
She's never a planeswalker, right? Yeah, no, I'm misremembering then.
I don't think she ever was.
Am I
she hasn't had a card at least.
You might be Mandela affecting her.
So was it? I think I am Mandela affecting it.
She has been. Teysa, Master of Spirits. She has been a planeswalker.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a legit. No, wait, no, that's not right. That's a fake.
Maybe
a fake one.
Regardless of the Teysa thing, we'll throw that away. But regardless of that, going to Ravnica, and thinking about all of the planeswalker cards that we had, at least last time that we went, it's going to be really, and I know that was a kind of a buildup of, because I believe it was, I might be wrong on the order of this, but it was Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance, and then we had War of the Spark, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that it was the buildup for that. We're seeing all of these planeswalkers, we're going to do all of this stuff, but it's when we're going back to Ravnica, are we just going to make everybody just a legendary creature now?
Probably.
Right? More commanders, but
a lot of them will go, a lot of those planeswalkers would have gone back to their home planes or other planes, right? Because a lot of them were pulled onto Ravnica by the planar beacon. So theoretically most of them won't be trapped there, but who knows who got caught there. You know,
please, you've been patient. Thank you.
Yeah, this kind of goes off of what Nexy just said, that a lot of the planeswalkers are going to become legendary creatures. So I am kind of okay with the fact that there's only going to be one planeswalker, especially if there's other planeswalkers in that set as planeswalkers that got desparked in that set as well, because that means that they are potential commanders for your decks. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, Oathbreaker just became a format, and then they were like, all right, we're gonna get planeswalkers. But I think it's cool that, like, you know, you could, if you have someone like Rowan, who was like one of your favorite planeswalkers, you can now play Rowan as your commander. So I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And
Upside.
when we return to Ravnica, a planeswalker like Ralzeric, whose home plane is Ravnica, is he going to be the only planeswalker in the set? Are we going to see that he's been desparked? I think that those are all things that everybody's kind of waited.
They should make a Ralantomic card.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Because they did a whole bunch of other partner ups, and you know, Halan and Elena partners are there, so let's get our Ralantomic partners.
Yes.
There you go.
100%. I'm on board with that. A Jeskai colored.
Would there be a Jeskai one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about if Sauron got desparked. That'd be so fun.
Sauron? No, don't hurt my boy.
I can't wait to go back to Innistrad. I want to see.
I love Sauron. I'm such a little fangirl for him. So dark and broody.
I love him.
I hate to say it, but I hope that the Wanderer was desparked on Kamigawa so she can rest and like not do that.
Go
Like,
back and hang out with Yoshi.
Yeah. Be with your bestie.
Like, that's that one I would hope for. I'm still upset about Huatli and Saheeli. That one's still upsetting.
But they get to be together in their giant metal pterodactyl. So that's still
what? I missed something.
The flip side of one of the battles is a giant metal pterodactyl ship.
Oh, yeah.
That Saheeli built because of her relationship with Huatli.
Oh, that's cute.
And Chris, I wish I could think of the name of it right now, but
it's the Aetherwing Golden Scale flagship.
Oh yeah, the one with the red and white on the back. Yeah.
We'll see. It'll pop up in just a moment.
You could also look for legendary vehicles.
There you go.
There you go.
Very innocent. I gotta get to
cool.
see my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely
so
normal
hopefully
response
we'll see
to
the
not
two
being
of
able to
them.
see your girlfriend is building a giant.
Yeah. It tracks. That's representation,
right? Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to see the two of them together on Ixalan in just a couple of months. So we talked about role tokens. We talked about planeswalkers a little bit. There are some returning mechanics. One big returning mechanic that we're seeing a new twist on, and that is just before we get to that, we got a raid. Thank you, Chase, for raiding. Big group of people. Hello, raiders.
Hi, friend.
And
Hello.
welcome. For anybody that is new to our charity roundtables, everybody, we are doing a fantastic discussion with this incredible panel about Wilds of Eldraine. Not only are we chatting about the new set, the new cards, the new art, but we are raising donations for the Trevor Project. If you hit Command Donate in chat and donate in $5 increments, you will be entered into a draw at the end of the night to win everything from Infinitoken prize packs to precons from Wilds of Eldraine. So please be sure to do that. We are also going to be doing a Q&A at the end of the night too. So redeem the 1 channel point Q&A in chat in order to make sure that we've got all of that information.
You can't make me. I'm just gonna blame Chris.
Thank you very much. Oh, fantastic. So we were just about to discuss the return of adventures in Eldraine. Previously in the first Eldraine, we saw on-color adventures. So adventures that match the color of the card that they were on. Now we're seeing multicolored adventures. We're seeing off-color advententures. I think that this is a natural progression of the design here, but how does everybody feel about adventures? Nat, looks like you've got a lot to say.
I love adventures. I was really excited when they showed up in Baldur's Gate because I have a Lozon Dragons and Adventures deck.
Ooh.
The Lozon cares about adventures, so the fact that I now have more adventures to play with are really exciting. And there's a card that I'll talk about later about someone I want to build as a commander. But definitely really excited about it. I think it's a really cool mechanic that is underutilized by people. I feel like people need to look into more playing. Like, we talked about earlier, you could have 7 cards in your hand, but really you have 14 because
Yep. So many things to do.
So many opportunities.
I just want to say a big shout out to whoever is on pun duty at Wizards, because hair raising on the pollen shield hair is that's too funny.
Yeah, there are some real good ones, and this opens up
Read
a lot
the adventures. They're so funny.
Yeah, a lot of really interesting design space, and those names are very important. They can get tucked away down there in that little mini text box, but they are still really, really good. But Eilidh, any other feelings about adventures and these new multicolor adventures?
Yeah, I really like the adventures. I didn't like all of them. Bone Crusher Giant, looking at you. But, I think they just add so many more options and choices and, ways to build a deck. And now that they're multicolored as well, I think that's really, really sweet. Kellen, I believe, is Boros. So, the red card with the white adventure or the other way around. But yeah, I think it's rad. Like, the only thing I'm sad about is that Elusive Otter isn't legendary, because I would make a commander deck out of this little guy. He's so cute. It's my favorite.
There are a few people that feel the same way.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I love him.
They can't play Lutri, so they want any kind of otter in the command
just
zone.
give otters. They're so cute.
Oh, excellent. Princess, how do you feel about the new spin on adventures?
I love it. I love adventures. It's one of my favorite things. Like, I have Monster Manual in every one of my green decks because it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So I love that now it's got more versatility to it. And I think that the adventure, I think that and Foretell are like 2 of my favorite sort of like mechanics that have like continued to like evolve, and like I can't wait. I love it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Clay, how do you feel about the new adventures?
I think they're cool. I think more adventures that we get, the more options we have. I'm always a fan of seeing them in sets. I will admit that before the Forgotten Realms and the D&D sets, I really only used adventures when I was trying to cheat mana restrictions. So playing Karuga or playing things where I'm like, haha, everything's got a mana value of 3 or more, and then First Sliver, the Maskwood Nexus deck that I play, being like, oh, Brazen Borrower, no, it's 3 mana. I don't know what you're saying. But they really expanded what adventures could be in those D&D sets, and that next level really made me appreciate them for just them. And I run a lot of different ones now in different sets. So I'm excited to see more. And I really like them making, I think the adventures in this set are really good. And I like them kind of capping them a little bit by making them multicolored so that, there's more restriction there.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. Nexy, how do you feel about the new adventures?
I have always loved adventure cards. I think that they're so great. Something that I do really love about them is that they add a level of flexibility to your gameplay. And so you have a lot more options. If you're feeling stuck in something, it's like, oh, well, I have this card that has an adventure that helps get me out of this situation. I'm not just stuck with these creature cards that aren't going to help me currently with this board state. And so I think that adventures are really, really amazing. And I can't stress enough how much I love not having to flip my cards around to be able to do different things.
Yeah.
I was actually going to reference the MDFCs. Yeah. It's kind of like that, but not as such.
I love it. And I do love some of the like we talked with hair raising, like the puns and stuff. It almost reminds me of the Ravnica split cards, how like the names would always go together. So
Yeah.
I love it a lot.
Absolutely. I was going to bring up the MDFCs as well, that adventures are kind of a natural exploration of that kind of theme too, but this is even more versatile because it's 2 spells as opposed to a spell and a land, which we were only seeing on the MDFCs, and that the dexterity aspect of it, of flipping your cards around, going through those logistics, making sure that at the end of the game you're flipping all of your cards back around, because the number of times that I've forgotten about that, I can't count, which is perfectly fair. But Nexy?
And another thing about that, it's one of the worst feelings when you're like, oh, I'm just gonna flip this around really quick to remember what the back does. Like, and then like your opponent can like see what card you're like pulling out and all that stuff. And I'm like, I hate it. I hate that feeling so much.
Fair play.
And this is not a consideration that Wizards will ever make, and I understand. But as somebody who has proxied a lot of commander decks, losing the back card part that's like outside of the sleeve and then being like, let me skyfall this real quick because I have no idea where that, and so like not having to worry about keeping track of those random slips of paper, also very nice.
Yeah, not having to keep 2 slips of paper in the same sleeve all the time with the flip cards, for sure.
Chris put in chat, I did that several times towards the beginning when we were streaming Commander twice a week, and I was just proxying decks. I would like run out of sleeves, or I'd have 101 cards. I'm like, why do I have? And you're flipping through, and it's not immediately obvious.
Yep. Oh no.
Which is the same consideration for the battles that we were talking about earlier too.
Right.
They are essentially MDFCs as well, right? So, but I think that's perfectly fair. Nexy.
I just have a small thing to say about the battles, just because I have so many issues with them, but I don't understand why they were not printed the way that they appear on Arena.
Yeah.
Because on Arena, like they're still like upright, and I love it. It's perfect. It works. It's great. But then you get the physical card, and it's just like, I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I was just
good point. There's no real reason that they had to do them sideways.
Yeah. I mean, I understand like expanding the art. And like it's really cool getting that big picture, but you can always just like, make it a little bit more vertical too. Like
that's why it's landscape on the card in the first place usually. Anyway.
And there's had to be a lot of consideration from deck building sites as well, because it being oriented vertically like that, a lot of sites like Moxfield, for instance, auto rotates them in the deck builder view so that you can actually read the card without craning your neck. Absolutely. Which is a great consideration, but from a gameplay standpoint, sure, it differentiates the card, but there are a lot of other considerations with that too. Hopefully we get some kind of vertical battle format moving forward, different frame for them, something else to set them different. So, but they commissioned all of that great horizontal art, so they've got to use it somehow. Awesome. Speaking of arts, though, segue. This set has some incredible art in it, as we are used to on the Eldraine set. Some of the fairies in particular are absolutely incredible. Love some of the art here, but what are some of your favorite arts? Let's start, Princess, with you if you've got.
All right, I got a few. I made sure to pull them up. So of like the regular art, I would say I love Yenna Redtooth Regent. I love that entire design. It's gonna work so well in Ignitia. So I'm like, great synergy there. I love Neva Stalked by Nightmares.
That's a gorgeous one.
Amazing Orzhov energy. And then I also love Eilidh Cunning Conqueror. I love three girls hanging out, shimmering chaos. And then I love the Enchanting Tales Rhystic Study. I will be doing everything I can to obtain it. I love the Enchanting Tales Blood Moon.
Yep.
And then finally, I have to say, even though it's sort of cheesy, I love the anime Smothering Tide, because I can hear it. Like I'm like a Revolutionary Girl Utena fan, so like I can just hear the motion. So I want, yeah. All I want is to just like play it, laugh, the exact anime laugh, and just like enjoy myself for like the whole day.
Something to that effect, right? There you go.
I love it. It's so good.
Oh, fantastic. All great picks, absolutely. Nexy, how about you? Any of your favorite arts from the set?
My all-time favorite art, the one that is he is my son. I love him. It's Aquatic Alchemist. I love that art so much. There's so many things about it. It feels very like Studio Ghibli. It reminds me of Howl's Moving Castle so much. It is so good. He's so cute. I want to get him tattooed so bad. Put him right next to, that's the wrong arm. Put him right next to Strelv. But the cutest thing about it to me is the fact that he wears the cauldron on his head, which implies that like he was another alchemist's like little experiment, and then he became alive, and so like now he's doing his own thing, and it's just so cute. That is easily my favorite one. I do love Lord Skitter's Butcher is basically just Ratatouille. That one's
just with
really
a bigger
cute
knife
too. Exactly. Brothers Grimm Ratatouille, the retelling we didn't know we needed. And finally, there is an art that is made infinitely better by the flavor text, and that is Archive Dragon. And so it's just a dragon reading a book, and the flavor text says, fascinating. It says here that dragons cannot read. And I think it's so cute and so charming.
That's so cool.
Those are easily my favorite arts.
Nice. Yeah, again, some great picks there too. I do love the rat art in this set. There are a lot of rats, and the art is all very visceral a lot of the time. Nat, how about you? Favorite arts?
Every single full art basic lands.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say that.
Hands down, they're my favorites, and I'm probably going to put them in like every deck I own. Also, any card with a blue-haired fairy on it, because when I look at art, I look at cosplays, and so whenever I see things that I don't have to wear a wig for, I get really excited. So, yeah, but my absolute favorite art from this set is the Omniscience by Hernandez. It is like chef's kiss. So good.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. The Enchanting Tales arts are all gorgeous, whether they're the anime arts or the other arts for them. They are all incredible.
Shout out to Sneak Attack for being the funniest, I think.
Yeah, and Eilidh, on that point, I think that that's one of the best, hands down, one of the best in the set. But do you have any other favorites?
Heck yeah, I have many. So prepare yourself for Googling. Eco Drain. That's one of the coolest I saw. The black spell that discards just the hands and everything. Oh, it's too good. So beautiful. Anything by Magali I love. So Ariette and the Charmed Apple, like she's just gorgeous. Absolutely love that. I like my little pollen shield hair. I think that one's super cute. Who else did we really like? Oh, Dominic Mayer also had some real bangers in here. What is it? Shatter the Oath. He's slowly becoming like my second favorite artist behind Magali. Like I just love his stuff, and I can identify it immediately. I see that, and I'm like, yep, that's him. And then Niels Ham did the Horned Lock Whale, I think it's called. The fairy tale version of that. It's so cute. I love it. I saw that and I was like, oh, it's Niels. I love art that I can recognize the artist straight away, and those are some of my favorites.
Fantastic. Again, all great picks. I like that we're getting some of the alternate arts, some of the inset arts, and they're all fantastic. I think that this is a fantastic plane for really good art because of the storybook feel and aesthetic to it in particular. But for Ariette of the Apple, it's almost a shame, or Ariette of the Charmed Apple, whatever it is. It's almost a shame that her art is so small the way that it is, because this is one of the pieces of key art for the set too, and blown up, you can see the reflection in her collar a lot better, and you can see the aged version of herself in it. And blown up, that art is fantastic, absolutely incredible. That's one that I'd recommend everybody go out and see, like the full version of it.
Yeah, and go buy a print if you want to.
Yeah,
it's real great.
100%. Support those artists.
Yeah.
Clay, how about some of your favorite arts from the set?
So I was going to lead with everything from Magali, everything with Dominic Mayer. So now that I've cleared up now that I've cleared up several of my slots, both printings of each of the virtues, I think are really, really cool. I love the story that's like put in to that art. Like every one of them has this story. The alternate arts are really cool. And then as far as like, it's funny because like this set is darker, like the theme is darker, Grimm Brothers, but like they still managed to like really capture some of this, like that cute fairy tale Eldraine. So like Edgewall Pack is one of my favorite arts. And it's so like, good. It's like, oh, like they wanted to give dogs to get rid of the rats, but the rats just tamed the dogs. And then you've got these Dobermans and stuff. That I love that art. Cheeky House Mouse.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely adorable. And then like we were talking about how like the naming on the adventure is important. Like squeak by. Like, oh, let me just squeak by you here. Like, as a Midwesterner, I don't know if I'll still be able to say sneak by you. I might end up saying squeak by you, and I don't know that anyone will ever notice. And then the Mosswood Dread Knight, all of the different arts, absolutely,
that's a great card.
Absolutely absurd. And I kind of promised myself I wouldn't pick any of the Enchanting Tales because we don't have enough time for me to talk about all the ones that I love. What I'll say instead is when Kaladesh came out with the Inventions and we got this for like the first time, this like full alternate like specialty of a card type, I got excited for enchantments, and I have been waiting since Kaladesh to get this. And both sides, the Anima side, the Fairy Tale side, the cards that they picked, the art styles, the stories, like it's just such a phenomenal. And I think it's probably my favorite of like in comparison to Mystical Archives or in comparison to Brothers War or Kaladesh. Like I think this is my favorite rendition of them picking a card type and just going ham on it.
I'm with you on that.
Same.
Just stunning.
Blind Obedience, shout out to that too.
So good.
So good.
Real good.
Defense of the Heart.
Oh, yeah, Defense of the Heart. The Karmic Justice. Both printings of Karmic Justice are awesome. Chris actually messing with me put Parallel Lives up, the anime version. I love that one. I think that's so great, and it just speaks to me. I think it's a slam dunk. And like I said, as somebody who loves enchantments, getting fancy versions of a bunch of really powerful, relevant enchantments is awesome.
It's amazing. You actually said something that reminded me of a card, talking about how like dark everything is, and you still get to see like some of that cute charm, like the cute little charm. Food Coma has one of the best arts in this set, in my opinion. And again, the flavor text, busy as a bumble sheep. It is that is just so adorable. And it's really refreshing having like both of those ends of the spectrum on like in this set.
Yeah, the Regal Bunnicorn.
Yes.
Oh, that little guy. That card is a house.
So
holy crap, that's gonna be so good.
Wizards actually on their like Magic the Gathering TikTok page, they made a TikTok about this card, and it was like, baby, sweet boy, have no thoughts. And it's so cute. Whoever is in charge of their socials with making that, just A+.
Absolutely. All fantastic picks. Again, this set is a slam dunk when it comes to some of the arts. Clay.
Sorry, if I get to one more. The art for Warehouse Tabby, when they tweeted out just the art, not the card itself, and I was like, "This is." You can't really see it on the stream, but like, there's so many rat eyes behind that cat, and the cat's eyes being wide. Like, I was like, "Oh, we're getting dark," and then like, this is messed up. I don't like this.
My goodness.
That's another good one.
But you know what? This cat is actually really good too. It's kind of like the long lost cousin of Cauldron Familiar.
Yeah.
Like, instead of food tokens or whatever, we're just getting rats now out of the cat.
Yeah. Rats out of the cat for
well,
once.
not out of the cat, but enchantments into bins. Cat.
I've got a couple of favorites from this set too. I love Emodane the Pyro Hammer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Give me that big strong woman, big strong hammer. Love to see that big flaming hammer in the middle of battle. That is a good one. And then I love the non-anime art Grave Pact as well. That one is fantastic. All of the claws creeping in over the top. Other art, Chris. Maybe it is the anime art. The other art on Grave Pact.
I think the other Grave Pact art is King. Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
No, Oversold Cemetery.
Oh yeah, the real spooky, like Tim Burton-esque.
That's the one.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that one's so beautiful.
I like that one a lot. Just the fact that everything's like in silhouette and you've got that bright background and there's a real sense of foreboding to it. That one's one of my favorites there. It's immediately stood out to me. Love to see it. Now, with art out of the way, let's talk about some of the cards themselves. What are you most excited to play with? What are some of the best cards from a mechanical standpoint that you're really excited to build with, to brew with, to include in decks? Anything that you're including in updating some of your new brews. This is where everybody's going to pull out those dozen tabs that they have open with Scryfall right now. We're going to go through a few of those. But I like the new dragon with the black adventure on it. I'm blanking on the name. Right now. Decadent Dragon. That's the one. This is a really cool one, really good one. Love it that it's another treasure-themed dragon. Seems so appropriate. Seems like a no-brainer from a design standpoint. But I'd love to continue to see these.
Yeah.
The alternate art for that one is incredible.
Yeah, the storybook art on this one is real good.
I have a couple if anyone is.
Please.
Anyone else wants to jump ahead, but the Virtues. I love these.
Yeah.
These are absolute bangers. Just being able to, instant speed, make a knight. And then, oops, all my stuff gets a counter on the end step and untaps. It's like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, these feel like deal with or you will die kind of things. And I got the Mardu ones. So I think what I might do is start taking out some stuff from Dorina, putting these in, putting the new quartz as well, because I opened quite a few of them. I think I got the whole Mardu set. So looking forward to playing with that. Ashiok, once I actually read and understand how to play this card, I am looking forward to sticking it in my Ayara deck, because cool. Talion, the Kindly Lord, played a pre-con game or a set booster box commander seal basically with it. Holy crap. This card is gross. If
What
you pick
number
the
did you
right
name?
number, Olivia named 3 and proceeded to almost murder all of us. So yeah, it's pretty nutty. What else was I keen on? Oh, this Crown of Winter. This thing is ridiculously good. Stick it in there, tap people's stuff, sack it, draw a bunch of cards. Like, the longer the game goes, the better that card is. So yeah, those are some of my definitely want to play with. And the Otter, of course, I might find a home/deck for it.
Absolutely. I really like that Virtue of Knowledge, the blue
one,
Harmonicon enchantment.
It's crazy.
I think that one's going to be a real good one.
Corvold.
Yeah,
Bargain, dragon, eat things. Yeah.
the set booster exclusive new Cold is a good one too.
Oh, it's so good.
For sure. Nat, how about you? Any new cards you're really excited for?
So I mean, they're very like me personally cards, so they might not be everybody's favorite cards. But Up the Beanstalk, great card if you're playing big stompy things in green.
Yeah.
Which you usually are if you're playing green. So for 2 mana, that feels like a pretty good card. I also really like, I don't know like where I'm gonna put this, but I really like Gruff Triplets. I think that card's really cool.
I have an idea for that for you. Just get every single token doubler and then start chewing on those guys.
Yeah.
Do something Jund.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out, but that card just seems like really silly, and I love silly cards. And then another kind of silly card, Unruly Catapults. It's tap, it deals 1 damage, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you untap it. So ideally, you're just like ping, ping, ping. So those are some cards I'm excited about using. Oh, also Wicked Visitor.
Yeah.
Whenever an enchantment you control is put in the graveyard, each opponent loses a life. I also have a Narcy deck, so the sagas going into the graveyard with this seems pretty good. So yeah, excited about all of those for sure.
I really like that we're seeing more of this enchantment aristocrat style effects where enchantments going to the graveyard are doing the same kind of thing that creatures were, especially with rolls and being able to sacrifice them. I think anything that lets you sacrifice an enchantment or any permanent is definitely going up in value right now. So get those effects while you can. Clay, how about you? Any cards you're excited for?
Yes, first of all, on the enchantment aristocrat thing, I want to say shout out Underworld Coinsmith for laying the path, the foundation for this. But as far as like, I don't think I'm going to build any like legends as like their own commander decks, but there's a lot of cards that I could see going into decks that I have. Like Nat said, the Wicked Visitor is right up there. Warehouse Tabby, honestly, will probably be a version of that will be in RC. There's a just for the laugh, probably Not Dead After All, because I would love to be able to yell that. When somebody thinks that they've removed something. Lich Knight's Quest is ridiculous for 5 mana with the amount of artifact and enchantment tokens that we can have running around to get. I can't believe they go to the battlefield. It's just very cool. And I think it's going to be really strong. The virtues for sure. Probably the sagas. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of cards in here that I feel like I need to see in play. Like the bargain effects and stuff, where I feel like they can be really good, but I don't know if they're where I want to be at, whether that's higher or lower than where I typically build my decks for. I kind of haven't figured that out yet. When you have new mechanics, sometimes gauging that stuff beforehand before you actually get to see them in action. Royal Treatment is one that, it's always nice to have another single green protect your commander instant. The additional getting a roll as well is sweet. And Ariat, because again, Narcy. Having Ariat in there would be sweet. And from the commander from the Eldraine commander decks. I cannot remember.
The casting director or
no, Eilidh.
Gilwain? Yeah, Eilidh, yeah.
Eilidh of the Wild Court.
Yeah.
Wild.
This card is nutty. It's insane.
Yeah, and I think she has to go into the 99 because I can't control myself or trust myself to build a restrained deck if she's the commander. Like, we're going too hard, too fast. And Mosswood Dread Knight. Mosswood Dread Knight is, if a deck is green and black, I'm putting that in there. I think that card is super cool.
Absolutely. Great picks. Nexy, how about you? Any cards you're excited to build with? Anything that are your favorites so far?
I am working on a Miram deck right now, and so seeing some of these dragons are really nice. It is sad that I can't put something like Decadent Dragon in there just because of the Black Adventure. But even just the Archive Dragon would be really nice to throw into Miram. There are a couple reprints in this set that I'm very excited to throw in some decks that I do have built. On Arena, I have an Esper Affinity deck, which the main point of it is just make Gingerbrute big. So seeing the new Gingerbrute in here, I love the art for it a lot. I love the new Soul Guide Lantern. So there's just a couple things that I haven't like actually gone through and like read a lot of these cards. Mostly just been so infatuated with the art. But those are definitely some of my picks. And wherever I can put Aquatic Alchemist, I don't care like what kind of deck I'm running. If there is blue, I am putting him in there. He is my new pet card. I love him so much. So that for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, real good picks. I agree. That Aquatic Alchemist is adorable. Princess, how about you? Your favorite cards from the set?
I talked about a few of them before, but I definitely want to put Yenna and Neva into my Onyxia deck because, like, just being able to copy stuff, get stuff out of the graveyard, and like, especially because I have a bunch of like blink effects already built in there, like having Nevia there as like another Menace character card would be a lot of fun for me. I also would love to sort of see what happens. I don't have that many like Dimir decks, so like the fairy ones, I'm interested in getting the pre-con and then like slowly upgrading it to see like, oh, how decadent can one be. And then I think I might do Rowan because I want a place for all of my Rakdos ladies. Like I definitely, seeing her, I was like, I really want to do something with this color, and I haven't found a deck that really has spoken to me yet, so I'll play around with it. But the biggest joy that I get from Eldraine is that for a long time I've been working on doing like a Royals themed deck, and there are so many noble cards in this that it's just going to be a lot of like weird stuff with Kenrith and my little noble versus witches tribal thing that I'm working on. So I'm just happy for the jank possibilities.
Very cool. I love that. There are a lot of nobles in this set. We can almost do like a noble typal deck now that we've got 20, 25 new nobles that have come in this set on its own. It is really cool to see that type is there, that subtype is picking up a lot of steam.
As a princess, I appreciate it, honestly. I think it's about time for us to really have a place here.
Amazing. Yeah, good call. I am really looking forward to Rowan too, because I want to get a copy of Rowan altered. I've got this Florian Voldarin Scion as a male Pokemon trainer, and I want to get Rowan as a female Pokemon trainer,
nice.
so that I can swap in between the two in the same deck, because it's an all odd mana value deck, and I'll be able to run Rowan instead of Florian or swap between the two. So we're looking forward to building this deck out further in a new edition here, which is fun. Before we move on to our last questions and our Q&A, I want to remind everybody in chat that this is going to be one of your last chances to donate. Hit that command donate in chat, donate in $5 increments. We will be doing a draw after the Q&A before we go to raid somebody else with everybody out there. So make sure to get your donations in now. If we hit that next goal, that $350 goal, we're going to be giving away another Commander Precon from Wilds of Eldraine. So make sure to get in while you can. And we will be doing Q&A in just a moment too. So make sure to get your questions in for our incredible panel here, and we'll be answering those shortly. All right, you've been warned. Last chance. All right, so before we get to the Q&A, last question for everybody. Are you brewing anything new? not only are you brewing anything new, but I want to add another dimension to this as well. Is there anything that you are hoping not to sit down against from this set? Is there anything that
Italian.
Are there any new legends or new cards from the set that you're not looking forward to playing against as opposed to playing against? Eilidh, you've mentioned that Talion's a bit of a nightmare at a table, especially with the right number selected.
That card's pretty darn powerful. It's very cool. We just didn't have spot removal to get rid of said very cool card.
Yeah. I did a CEDH brew for it as soon as Talion was revealed, because being able to name one or two very early in a competitive game is going to chunk a lot of damage. It's going to be really, really good. In a casual game, I played against Alan from Mental Misplay, who managed to name 2 on Italian on turn 3. And that thing must have done half the life totals at the table in damage. It is really, really good. That's for sure. Anybody have anything that you're either brewing or not looking forward to sit down against? Eilidh.
The thing that I want to brew is actually an old card, but I still love it very much, is Lurrus of the Dream Den. And with all the new enchantment aura support for it, like the little, when it hits the graveyard effects, I'm thinking I might go down that road and make my kitty commander I've always wanted to.
I have a video coming out next week that is an Ariette of the Charmed Apple, Lurrus of the Dream Den companion deck that uses a lot of these enchantments go to the graveyard effects, enchantment aristocrat deck.
Yes, I will be watching that one for sure.
Fantastic. Nat, how about you? Anything that you're brewing?
Okay, I've already brewed a Byra. I don't know if I posted a couple things about it, but Virtue of Knowledge with a Byra is gross with Bitter Blossom and all the other enchantments in the deck, like Polluted Bonds and Kindred Discovery, that all have ETB effects that'll be copied with Virtue of Knowledge. And I was really trying hard not to build a gross Dimir deck, but
you did? Oops.
I did. 'Cause that's who I am. However, the other deck that I'm really, really excited to build, and it's because of my pet card, is Kellen. Because my pet card is Bloodforge Battle Axe, and so I will be searching for that with Kellen. So it's like having Bloodforge Battle Axe in your command zone. So if you have an artifact equipment that is your pet card, this is your new commander, because you can just play it. Yeah. So I'm really excited to build that.
I saw Tomer from MTG Goldfish, who is a big Cauldra stan, go crazy over this because it allows him to tutor Cauldra pieces from the command zone, which is real good. And we've got another raid here at the tail end. Sensitive Joy is raiding with a great party. Hi,
Joy,
raiders.
My love. Thank you for bringing people in.
Big raid. Once again, hi, everybody. You're joining us at the just about tail end of our charity roundtable for Wilds of Eldraine. As you are joining us, we are raising donations for the Trevor Project. If you want to hit Command Donate in chat. If you donate in $5 increments, we will be doing a draw for some prizes at the end of the night too, where you can win Infinitokens prize packs, you can win Commander precons. You can see that we've got a goal of $350 up top, and we are very close to it. So any donations do absolutely help. Thank you very much. All right. Fantastic. Excellent. Welcome again. Princess, anything that you are brewing?
I'm trying to brew less and tweak more, but I think the Fae are really gonna get me. I really need to play with them. But other than that, I'm excited just to see what people do. Like, I love when a scary deck shows up because it's fun to die once and then like just hyper focus on like, now I must learn how to kill them. So I'm excited for the thrill of the chase.
Absolutely. Anything that unites the table to take down one player is something that I like to see. Somebody's got to be the bad guy. And especially with a set where you have like clearly defined villains, it's great to see that at a commander table too.
Yeah,
right?
that happened a lot with Lord of the Rings. It's like, oh, you're Sauron. You are the bad guy.
Yeah, you have to
gonna get
die.
ya.
Excellent. Nexy, anything that you are doing some brewing?
Nothing really at the moment with this set specifically. I am very excited. I am primarily a limited player, so getting to do this in pre-release and draft, I am very, very excited to kind of mess around with the cards, see how they are as they play within its own set, and then see what I want to do, how it might be cohesive with other cards, see what I want to brew in the future. I am a little tempted. I've been wanting to get into CDH for a little while, and so Talion is definitely one that I really want to brew. Make that my very first CDH deck. Yeah, I think that's the primary one for me. I have been talking to a couple different creators about how to brew Talion. I even asked Comedian, like, what number do you pick? Comedian's his answer was, in general, you pick one. Like that's going to be your answer, but there are certain cards that are currently really amazing in CDH that you gotta just pick two, and it Talion acts as like a powerhouse, and then being able to copy it and choose both numbers, yeah. So so that's something that I've been looking a little bit into for sure. But mostly excited for limited and doing some on the spot brewing.
Nice. Clay, how about yourself?
In general, I'm more along the lines of like, I like sitting down against scary things and having that interaction, especially like as game narratives take place. Imodain is so cool, but burn decks are so polarizing to games and the way that like they either go off or they don't get to go off, and then that experience can be really bad for them. Or
would you say they either fizzle or sizzle?
I would actually. I wouldn't, because I'm not clever enough to get there. But I appreciate you doing that. So like that's just one that if somebody sits down with that, I'm going to be cognizant of like the way that skews the game. It's the same thing that Torbran constantly had that issue. I didn't initially think about this, but I did remember I have actually been looking at Will, Scion of Peace. There has been a lot of talk about Rowan, understandably so. I think that she's more powerful. But like, I spent a lot of time as a pillow fort, like life gain. I've built a lot of decks based around gaining a lot of life. One deck that I'm working on is the Archimandrite. And so like Will slots perfectly into that deck as well. But turning like Revitalize into like spells cost 3 less.
Yeah, that's
like,
pretty cool.
you could do a lot of silly things that like don't necessarily on the face seem powerful, right? With a deck like that. So that might be something that I mess around with once I get satisfied with where Narcy's at. But I don't know. There's a lot of cool cards, but it feels like it's a lot more like support
in the
legendaries
than
like
commanders.
than like the actual commander, I guess.
Speaking of support, I was thinking of chucking Agatha into like Svella, for example. I'd like some like cheapest chips activations to get free stuff off the top of my library.
Absolutely. She goes really well in any of the general Tazries too.
Oh yeah,
which is a good one.
Ooh, icky.
I really like Imodain as well. I mentioned that I like the art, but I like the card largely because of the reasons, Clay, you said that burn typically doesn't work in Commander, is that it fizzles. But this is something that turns burn into what it needs to be in Commander, and that is multiplayer damage rather than single target damage. So I'm really interested in playing Imodain with things like damage multipliers. So damage doublers or some of the damage triplers, like the City on Fire or Fiery Emancipation, being able to turn a lightning bolt into 27 damage to each opponent with 1 damage tripler out is something that I want to do. Like that is goals for me.
Can you come and do that on hijinks with us, please?
100%.
Hell yeah, let's go.
We'll see. But yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to trying, because for the longest time I've been playing around with burn in Commander and seeing the ways that you can extend that. I think the closest that we've gotten to burn, the kind that you see in 60 card formats in Commander, is Perforos, the God of the Forge. It's not quite burn. You're not casting spells to do it. You're making creatures to do it. So Emodane being able to turn a lightning bolt into a game-winning spell is, I think, something that I'm interested in, and a lot of people are potentially interested in too. So real cool. All right. Okay. With that, I want to move into our Q&A. Everybody out there in the audience, this is going to be your last chance to donate. We are $60 away from giving away one more Commander Precon. If we can get there by the end of the Q&A, by the end of the draw, we'll be giving it away. If not, we're still giving away one, as well as an Infinite Tokens prize pack too. So go out there, do your business, and blame me. Thank you very much. All right. So first question from the audience, from Crab Baskets, our big donor so far for the night. Do you feel the fairy tale flavor of the set matches up with the way that they're represented mechanically on some of the cards? So does Red Riding Hood Ruby match her fairy tale, her fable? Does Ash, which is Party Crasher, I believe her name is, something like that, does she match Cinderella? Right? Do they match up? We know who they are, but do they match with their fairy tale counterparts? How do you feel?
I think they're like the badass versions of the fairy tales, because, you know, if you think of Cinderella, she's kind of this, oh, woe is me, have to have a little prince to come and save me kind of thing, which is always cliche and lame. And so I'm glad they're like the badass, you know, they're like, aha, I crashed the party, no one else does. So, you know, I like that they don't go for the typical damsel in distress with a lot of the female characters specifically. So yeah, absolutely.
Taking the Hansel and Gretel fable and turning Gretel into badass food hunter out there. I think that's a real neat twist. Like, you can very clearly tell how it's inspired, but it doesn't have to be word for word, take for take from the fable to be good. Princess, how do you feel?
I agree. I mean, like, we live in a very subversive version of fairy tales in general in media, so I feel like we don't need the traditional flavor for like that story, because we already have that story. And I feel like now when we see Red Riding Hood, we do expect her to have a little bit more, you know, revenge / killing. Like, just going back to Into the Woods, where her whole arc is like, I was traumatized and now I'm gonna skin every wolf I've ever seen. So we've been doing this for a hot minute. So I think it's just a continuation of that whole, like, we want to talk about the trauma now.
And the resolution thereof.
Much more relatable in the modern age, for sure. Nexy, how do you feel?
Yeah, exactly what they were talking about with this. It's just another like a very niche generation of retelling. One of my favorites by far when it comes to like the flavor of the card has to be Ariette, like being the like the evil queen of Snow White with like the apple and everything, and like creatures that are enchanted, like they can't attack you, or planeswalkers you control, like that kind of mechanic. Like, it's just it's so, it is just as flavorful as the apple. Like, it's so good. It's so I love that there are those like little bits in there that really fit the old school vibes of like what we're used to. And then we have like this kind of like, if you guys have watched the show Once Upon a Time, it feels very much like that. Like, I'm pretty sure Red Riding Hood's name in that show is also, or maybe she was just Red, but
it was Ruby too, when like,
was it Ruby? So it was just like another one of the, like, it's cool that it's like a little bit more of like a modernized, badass retelling of these classical stories. But it's keeping those like dark elements to it, which is really amazing. We're not Disneyifying it yet again.
Yeah. And you mentioned Ariette. I think the actual Ariette's Charmed Apple is really good. Being a threaten effect
It's
on
insane.
an artifact is really good and really fitting for the flavor of the actual item itself, which is really cool. Nat, how about you? Do you feel mechanics and references match up?
I feel like something that the designers always do really well is flavor, especially these past few sets. Like looking at the Universe Beyond sets, like Lord of the Rings, I feel like they absolutely nailed flavor for that set. Seeing, some of the Doctor Who cards that they have showed, I feel like they really are thinking about how the flavor ties into the mechanics and how they can make it still playable and make it still make sense for Magic as a game.
Like the new Farewell.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that is something that has been done really well over the past few sets, and I feel like this set was still very well done that way.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Speaking of the Doctor Who cards, the flavor on River Song, for instance, is some of my favorite.
Wait.
Yeah, 100%. I saw that. The fact that she punishes spoilers, she draws from the bottom of your library. That is, I love it. I love it. So yes, they are able to manage the flavor and the function very, very well. Clay, how about you? How do you feel about the references and the mechanics merging?
I think that they mechanically they capture the references pretty consistently well, but I think that there's like a range in the like tone of the references, right? And so like some of them are like you said, like Once Upon a Time or kind of like these darker, and like some of them feel more like if anyone else has seen Hoodwinked or like Shrek style, right? Like like all of the animated food and like all of this, like the back for seconds joke, the like this, it just feels like that like hoodwinked, irreverent like retelling where like it's just we're just having fun, we're just laughing, right? And then there's a lot more. The Mosswood Dread Knight, I keep coming back to this, right? But like that's the Green Knight, like can't stay down, and then even is then referenced in the art of one of the Enchanting Tales, Karmic Justice, like right? Who could have foreseen coming back and taking the head? So yeah, I love it, and I love that there are we get the puns, we get the silliness, we get like these just absolutely goofy.
Like Puny Snack,
nods.
the gingerbread hunter or whatever it's called.
Exactly. Yeah. Things like that. And them managing Sugar Rush, is another one of that kind of where it's like bizarre and it's dark, but it's also like very silly still because it's frosting.
It's great though. You never want a set that takes itself too seriously. That goes for anything, any piece of media. You need humor. If you are like devoid of humor and you're just trying to be serious and solemn the whole time, man, your audience is gonna leave feeling crap. Like give them something to laugh about.
And off of the back of the Phyrexian invasion story arc, where things have been very dour, very serious this entire time, getting to see some of this irreverence, some of these jokes that are back in the cards is very appropriate. And I think that's one of the reasons why everybody is immediately excited for a set like this, is a return to some of those jokes. Nexy.
Yeah, Lord Skitter. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just like Lord Skitter. The actual card looks straight out of Shrek. Like
I was literally just about to say, you said hoodwinked. I thought Shrek 2. Specifically Shrek 2.
Well, that one works too. But yeah, like it's just that style just kills me. I love it so much.
Yeah, awesome to see. the next question from our own Claybee here. If you could spark one legendary creature, who would you spark?
I forgot what I asked. I was like, wait, what did I put?
I know we've got some non-planeswalker fans in here.
Sir Ginger, because it'd be funny.
Oh yeah, a
Came
gingerbread
what she hated the
planeswalker.
most.
That whole
Yeah.
deal is to stalk Garruk
Mm.
to get revenge on Garruk would be
Mhm.
great.
I want to take the twins' spark and give it to Helena Alana Partners.
Oh yeah, that shared spark idea with Helena and Elena, that'd
Yeah.
be fantastic. Nat?
So hard. The evil side of me wants to say like a creature like Umbrus, so that way I have more mill planeswalkers. But you know, like something like the Goose Mother would be a really funny planeswalker.
Mhm.
Because why not?
Yeah, I think that's great. And the Goose Mother is another one of these legends that people saw the art for this and immediately knew the tone of this set.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the fact that we're getting a bird Hydra, a Goose Hydra in this set, so many
Terrifying.
people latched onto immediately. I know that I've got some friends up here that are having this altered to be a Canadian goose. So that we've got the Canadian Goose Hydra, which is absolutely incredible. Fantastic.
Infinitely more threatening.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Nexy, how about you? Any legendary creature you would give a spark?
And I'm not a legendary creature, but I keep going back to him. Give my aquatic alchemist legendary. He is like, for those who have seen Howl's Moving Castle, like
Yeah.
he just looks like the complete opposite of Calcifer to me. And
Mhm.
I love him, and I need him to be legendary so that I can play him as a commander.
Yeah.
Give him legendary, make him a planeswalker,
Yeah.
do everything. He deserves the world.
They feel like the elemental version of Quintus. Like they would be best friends if they were both
Yes.
planeswalkers together.
Yep. I was going to say the same thing. If Quintorius could get a spark and becomes a planeswalker, then
Yes.
the aquatic alchemist can become a legendary creature, then get a spark and become a planeswalker. The two of them would have the best buddy comedy moments, like traveling the multiverse, like doing experiments, collecting knowledge. I think that would be awesome. Fantastic. And then Clay, you asked this question, so I think clearly you've got an answer for this one.
So I've got like different levels of answers. Chaotically, I want like Zakama or Omnath because like the just implications of Zakama being able to planeswalk, right, and just appear. What happens?
Everybody has to say clever girl when
Yeah.
Zakama planeswalks into a plane.
And then, but I think my like actual answer is, and just because we don't know a lot about her yet, and I want to know more, and being a planeswalker means we're more likely to get stories. But my favorite legend of all time, Fabine. Let her travel the multiverse and counsel away.
Yeah.
Good call.
I love that.
I would love to see one of my favorite legends, the little goblin Zada Hedron Grider, get a planeswalker, because the things that planeswalker would do in copying spells or multiplying spells, and to see a not a sophisticated goblin planeswalk and wreak havoc, go goblin mode across the planes, I would love to see.
Also, Rocco. Get to taste the cuisine on like a bunch of different planes, improve their cuisine. Like that'd be awesome.
Rocco gets a drive-ins, diners, and dives style show across the multiverse.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Rocco
That would be super
is
sweet.
it becomes the Guy Fieri of the Magic multiverse. Fantastic.
Make an altar of it where he's wearing the flame shirt.
the dyed
He has the
hair.
sunglasses on the back of his head.
That's so good.
Okay, hear me out. I know you said Omnath, but if we're thinking about Omnath's progression, it would make sense if Omnath became a planeswalker and he became the locus of planes, just took the spark. That's where the sparks could be. Omnath could just be like hiding the sparks in the belly, you know?
Yeah. Omnath, locus of sparks, and all of these desparked planeswalkers are being collected within Omnath. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's where the sparks went. That would be such a wild story beat. Like
Right?
in 2 years for them to be like,
Watch.
oh yeah, no.
Everybody rewind to this stream when this happened.
You manifested it, yeah.
Clip it.
Yeah,
We'll hold it over
this-
Kess's head. He'll never
Clip
live it
this
down.
chat so we can discuss this beat in like 5 years when that becomes the story arc. Is suddenly the Omnath is the big bad because
Omnath is the spark.
he's eaten all of these sparks. Yeah.
That's so good.
Awesome. All right. Next question from Ed1138 is, what commanders are you most excited to build decks for? I think we covered that. Then the last one from Crab Baskets is, why is it all Chris's fault? I think we know the answer to that one too. But that's it for our questions. I don't think we've got any more in chat. So we're going to cut off donations and we're going to do our draw, everybody. We're going to do the draw, then we're going to give everybody a chance to say their piece as well. Give us another opportunity to know where we can find you and who you are before we go and raid someone else. So the first winner for the Infinite Tokens prize pack is Charred Spark. Congratulations. Charred
Oh,
Spark.
congrats. Also, shout out Infinite Tokens for supporting us every one of these roundtables and donating these gifts.
We
Infinite Tokens
could
is
not do
fantastic.
this without
They're the
Megan
best.
and all of her support. Absolutely. The first commander,
#blessed.
the first commander pre-con goes to Grovak. Grovak, congratulations. We will be reaching out to the winners for your contact information and your choice of pre-cons. And the second commander pre-con, because we did pass our first goal, is Crab Baskets. Crab Baskets, congratulations. Thank you for your donation. Again,
go.
Chris, C&C Power Hour, will be reaching out to you for your information so that we can get you your prizes.
Woo.
All right. Amazing. So I want to thank my fantastic panel for joining us today. I want to thank the incredible audience for joining us as well. But I'm going to pass it around to everybody once again. Why don't you please tell us who you are, where we can find you? Nexy, we'll start with you this time, please.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Nexy. You can find me on basically any social media at NexusMTG. I do streams occasionally on Twitch. I am the resident bulk goblin. Most of my streams have just been sorting bulk, which is rough. But definitely have been very fun to do and just find hidden gems in my cards. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, thank you again.
Fantastic. Thank you. Nat, why don't you tell us who you are and where we can find you?
Hi, I'm Nat. I go by Giraffa Nat on the internet. I'm a content creator and cosplayer of all things Magic the Gathering, and I mostly stream on Twitch and go to events. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Princess, who are you and where can we find you?
I am on YouTube doing video essays as Princess Weeks. I'm sometimes on that site formerly known as Twitter as Weeks Princess, and occasionally I try to Twitch is because I want to do it so bad, but like then I think I have to put on makeup because then I don't want people to see my face, and then they have to see my face. It's the whole thing. But I'm just happy to be able to play Magic with my friends. So thank you guys for being here and talking with me about Rowan and her angst phase.
Angry
Thank you
ruin.
for joining us. Eilidh, who are you and where can we find you?
I am Eilidh, the mother to a very screechy 1-year-old right now. So sorry if you can hear him in the background. Yeah, I run EDHijinks, do lots of silly casual commander stuff with Olivia, and it's a great time hanging out and doing a round table. So thanks for inviting me. Sorry I couldn't be at the last one because I had my wisdoms pulled out. So I looked like one of them squirrels from the previous sets. But anyway, I'm there. You can Google me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Clay, who are you and where can we find you?
Yeah, hi friends, I'm Claybee. I'm part of the C&C Power Hour, the channel that you are here watching this on right now. I'm one of 3 to 5 people, depending on how you count. Chris and Andy. Chris has been our background person all night. He's been the one pulling up all of the card arts, and Andy, who did who's done like card arts and stuff for us, and the design for the streams and everything, the website, the system that we're using. But yeah, we do one of these every time that a new Magic set comes out, and we've gotten a chance to raise a lot of money and get to hang out and talk with really cool people. And so that's been awesome. So thank you again to our guests. Thanks to everybody in the chat. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, tweeting pictures of my animals and talking about the mistakes that I make that make Arena crash. That's pretty much kind of all I do at this point.
Fantastic. Thank you, Clay, for joining us. And yes, thank you to our fantastic support team, producer Chris in the background, who's been pulling up these cards the entire time, who has been feeding me things like questions and draw winners as well. We could not do this without you. And Andy, our incredible overlay designer here, who made the cards for promos as well as the overlay for the stream today. These are the backbones of these events, and the entire reason we can put these on is because we've got an incredible team. So thank you, everyone. Please do make sure that you give them the gratitude that they deserve for all their hard work as well.
And the blame.
And the blame. Yes, that is true. And then lastly, I'm Chris, and I'm your Commander Mechanic. You can find me everywhere content is made, including MagicCon Vegas coming up soon. I know that there's going to be a lot of us that are going. I think just about everybody is going. Clay, I'm sorry, I know. But I think 5 of the 6 of us are all going. So it's going to be excellent to see everybody there. And if you're going to MagicCon Vegas, you'll be able to say hi to us as well, which is amazing. Very much looking forward to it. We are going to go raid Filthy MTG Casuals in just a moment, but I did want to thank once again everybody for coming out, everybody joining us tonight, all of your generous donations, and to my fantastic panel for coming out as well. Love you all. Could not do this without you. We appreciate you volunteering your time for this. All right. Amazing. Well, thank you, everybody. Good night. Take care, and good luck and have fun.